Hello, long time no see. Today I have a great new tutorial for Affinity Photo and I'm going to show you how I got from this photo into this photo by using native tools that you can find within Affinity Photo. And I'm going to take you through the full editing process from the raw file up to the final touches that will transform this travel photo, and hopefully these techniques will help you also transform your travel photos. So without any further delay, let's roll the intro. Hello everybody, this is Strato from illumis.com, the website and online academy where we teach you how to create amazing photos with the gear you already own. In this free tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to take a so-and-so travel photography I was going to say, and how to apply some really simple but powerful techniques in order to elevate your travel photos into some amazing shots that you will cherish forever. Now, as you already may know, if you travel around the world, like sometimes I do, you might be able to get to a location, but the light is not ideal, the weather is not ideal, and sometimes you just have to work with what you have. So today, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you immediately right now the original photo that I'm going to pull from my archive, and hopefully the photo is somewhere around here. Just give me a second to find it. So I'm going to click and drag it, and as you can see, this is a photo from Venice, and there you have it. Now, as you can see, the sky looks kind of bland and horrible, it's underexposed, there is a lot of haze, etc., and the colors are not popping, but we're going to fix all these things in just a few seconds. So, the first thing that you will notice is that when you open a raw file within Affinity Photo, it opens up into what is called the develop persona. Now, the develop persona is something like a small program within Affinity Photo that will allow you to manipulate the raw data from the raw file, and this will give you the best possible results when you prepare your photo, and also it will give you amazing quality because it takes a full advantage of the capabilities of the raw files and the sensor within your camera. So always make sure that when you shoot in challenging situations like this one, use the raw format. Again, this photo was taken at an amazing location in Italy, Venice, and it was taken with an OMD EM5 Olympus camera and the Zuiko 14-42 lens, as you can see up here. Now, the first thing that I want to do is I want to bump up the exposure just a little bit, and this will brighten everything up, but it will actually introduce some let's say decolorization. Colors will look flat and there will be not enough contrast, so we're losing contrast in essence. So in order to bring back some contrast but also maintain the brightness of the photo that we just fixed, you need to go to the black point and drag it slightly to the right. Now this will actually add some black into the whole photo, the shadows, the highlights and the midtones, and it will bring back some contrast. You're not going to use the contrast because this will make things look horrible, as you can see here. The best bet is to use the black point, okay? As you drag it to the right, you add more punch and more contrast. As you drag it to the left, you make the photo look like this faded mess actually. Okay, so for this photo we don't need to do too much actually. My second edit would be in the white balance side of things, so I'm going to check the white balance panel over here, and I'm going to add some warmth to the photo by dragging the temperature slider slightly to the right. Now you don't want to overdo it, you don't want to go like this, just drag it to the right if you think your photo is too cold, if it has too many blue hues, and you want to balance that with some yellow that you add from the temperature slider over here. Once you are done, maybe bump up the exposure just a little bit, and there you have it. If we go and see before and after, this is a before, okay, this is the after. Before and after, already huge improvement. Now you may notice that the shirt on this gentleman is kind of overblown as well as the sky. So if you want to fix that as well, you can go over here at the basic panel again, check the shadows and highlights panel, drag the highlights panel, slider to the left, just a tiny bit, and there you have it. Now you have a much more balanced result. Maybe drag the brightness a little bit further down the road, and now we have fixed this overexposure problem and a little bit of the sky. Hit the develop button and the final result will come into Affinity Photo, where you will be able to actually use the native Affinity Photo tools in order to fix the photo. And this is what we're going to do in this part of this video. Okay, let's start editing the photo. First of all, I want to add some interesting color. I want to go for a vintage look because everything here in this photo looks old. And I would like to have a nostalgic, let's say, feeling a vibe throughout the whole photo. In order to do this, the simplest and probably most effective way right now is to go over here at the adjustments menu by clicking on this icon with a half white and half black circle and choose the gradient map. Now, once the gradient map opens up, you're going to notice that it gives us horrible results, but stick with me, we're going to make it look amazing. The first thing that you need to do is click on this central green circle over here and hit the delete button in order to get rid of it. Step number 2, change the blending mode from normal into soft light. Step number 3, drop the opacity at around 25% or maybe 35% if you are feeling risky and dangerous right now, and make sure that you go on this circle over here, click on the color and use an interesting warm color like this one, like this bright orange. Okay, so this thing, as you can see here, this circle is actually adding the color that it contains into the shadow areas of the photo. As you can see here, all the areas that are really dark are actually going to tend towards more the orange side of things. So the orange or the color that is set in this circle that lives on the left side of the gradient is added on top of the dark areas of the photo. And as you may have already guessed, the circle over here with the blue color is adding the color it contains into the very bright areas of the photo. Now, if you leave everything at 100%, it looks horrible, so this is why we need to change the blending mode from normal into soft light and lower the opacity to around 35%. Okay, now the highlights are still very cool, not like I'm cool, but very cold, and I want to change that, so I'm going to click over here, select the circle, click on the color and add some yellowish greens. So as you can see, this gives everything a more filmic vibe. Okay, it looks more retro, it looks like it was taken with a film. Then I'm going to play around with the colors and see if I go towards the green side, I get these nice tones, but maybe it's too green. So I'm going to go towards the green yellow side of things, so something like that. Now, if this looks kind of over the top for you, you can always go to the opacity slider and dial it down. Let's give it 25%. And this is before and after, before and after, before and after. You can see the difference, okay? But I am more of a 35% guy, so I'm going to leave it at 35%. I'm going to click on the X, and there you have it. Now, the second thing that we need to do is we need to add some contrast, okay? So, and the best way to add some contrast is to go over here, select the curves adjustment layer. If you have if you have been following my tutorials, then you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to click over here and drag this control point upwards to fade the colors. I'm going to click somewhere around here, doesn't matter exactly where, just hit the left mouse button in order to create a new control point and simply drag it slightly downwards. This will give the photo this retro faded look, but will bring also back some contrast by using this control point. And finally, to bring the midtones back to where they were, click somewhere around here, doesn't matter exactly where, create a new control point and drag it at the center of this box or at the place where those two lines intersect each other. And this is the before and this is the after, before and after, before and after. You see that we have this kind of, let's say, elegant filmic vibe by adding this curves adjustment layer. Now, the photo looks okay, but in my opinion, the sky over there at the top right corner is kind of blunt it's kind of boring, etc., because there are no clouds, there is nothing there. Now we could replace the sky, but this would take a lot of work and we want to work fast. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a photo. So give me a second to go over here at my archives, and I'm going to take this photo and I'm going to drop it here in order to open it as a separate file. Now, as you can see, this is a very interesting sunset. I took this photo from the unsplash.com website, where you can go and download free photos to do them whatever you want, completely legally. And if you search for this name, for example, Grace Brauteseth, I'm sorry, I'm butchering his name, I'm really sorry, you can find this photo, or you can also go and type lens flare or sunset, and you're going to get something like this. Now, why we need this photo? Because we need to add an element in the sky that will make our photo more interesting, more cinematic, okay? And in order to do so, I need something that will act as a source of light and warmth. So I'm going to go over here, I'm going to take this layer by using the move tool, and I'm going to hit left click on this layer to select it, hit Ctrl A and Ctrl C. Ctrl A is going to select the whole layer, Ctrl C is going to actually copy the layer. I'm going back to the file with my photo from Italy. I'm going to hit Ctrl V or Edit Paste in order to paste the photo over here. And of course it looks horrible, but here is the trick. You can select this layer with the name background, and I'm going to change it by left clicking it into lens flare. Okay, you're going to select this layer and change its blending mode from normal to screen. And once you do that, you are going to notice that everything that is black within the photo has been completely wiped out. It is completely transparent. It's there. Okay, if you go back to the normal blending mode, you can see it, but if you use the screen blending mode, everything that is black will be completely transparent, and everything that is filled with light, it will be semi-transparent. Now, this is step number one. So I created a very interesting light source. Step number two, I'm going to move it to a place where it makes sense. For example, I'm going to move it somewhere around here, because if I leave it over here, it will block the whole building and it will not look very realistic, if you ask me. Of course, you can go with something like this if you want. Creativity is something that allows us to freely create what we want without worrying what me or other people might say. But for this example, I'm going to keep it a little more realistic, so I'm going to click and drag the center of this lens flare somewhere around here. Now, as you will notice immediately, there are some harsh lines over here because these are the edges of the layer with the sunset, and it looks horrible. So I'm going to select the layer with the sunset, and then I'm going to select from the filters menu blur, and I'm going to select the Gaussian blur. I'm going to give it an 100% blur. I'm going to hit apply, and then I'm going to reapply the same filter. So I'm going again to the filters menu, repeat Gaussian blur. It will keep the previous setting of 100% strength. So you can either click here or hit or hit or hit Ctrl Alt F to do another pass of Gaussian blur at 100% strength. And as you can see here, it looks like a really nice and interesting lens flare that you can move around, you can place it wherever you want. And the key here is to have this lens flare actually wrap around some objects, like this part of the photo, this part of the building, and this part of this small building on the dock, and let it flow and fade away at the edges or within the rest of the photo. So you need to make this layer blend with the rest of the photo. This is why we blurred it, and this is why we're moving it at the right side of the frame. Also, you need your light source to be at the same side where the light is coming from within the real photo in order to keep things as realistic as possible. Again, if it is too much, you can always go to the opacity slider and dial it down or drag it down. Okay, you can use something like this. I like it at 100%, this looks quite nice, but because it's hiding part of the building over here, what you can do is you can select the lens flare layer, hit on this icon, and this will create a mask for the lens flare layer, and this will allow us to take a paintbrush tool, use from here the black color as our main foreground color, okay, And make sure that over here at this part of Affinity Photo, the opacity slider is at around 30 to 35%, okay, something like that. Flow 100%, hardness at 0%, and leave everything as it is. Now you can make the brush larger or smaller by using the left and the right square bracket keys. And all you have to do is simply paint by using one pass. For example, I'm going to left click and pass the brush once on top of the building in order to reduce the light from the lens flare on this part of the photo. So if you want to reveal more of the building, again, make a pass with this large brush, and there you have it. Now the light simply stays in this area. Okay, so if you want the lens flare to be visible in some parts and be invisible in other parts, all you have to do is add the layer mask, add the lens flare layer, take your brush, pick the black color, make sure that you use the settings I gave you here, and simply with a large brush, paint away the lens flare from the areas that you don't want it to be visible and hide elements, etc, etc. Now once we're done, what I usually like to do is I like to go at the curves adjustment layer and throw it on top of everything else. So this will help blend things even better altogether. Okay, so if we go and see the original photo that we used, okay, I'm going to select it and drag it over here. I don't know if this will work, but hopefully it will work. Okay, this is it. This is the original photo, okay, and this is the final photo. And this is the photo with basic adjustments within the develop persona before and after, before and after. Now, if you want some more creative tips, here they are. Okay, you can go to the gradient map adjustment layer, double click it, and hit the reverse button. This will flip around the color, so it may give you something that you like better. Okay, this is option number one. Option number two is to play around with the colors. For example, you can go for a classic teal and orange look, so you can get something like this, okay, that is also faded but a little more realistic. And don't be afraid to experiment. For example, you might think magenta might never work on a photo or in a photo like this, but you might be surprised what the gradient map can do in this kind of situations. Also, if you select a color, don't forget you can move the cursor within this triangle within this pyramid of color, and you can make the color darker, brighter, faded, so you can have endless and limitless ideas and creative, let's say, ways that you can use color in order to upgrade your travel photos. So play around, play with the colors, give strange colors to your photos, and you might be surprised. Also, don't forget to experiment, and if you find a combination that you like with the gradient map adjustment, you can always select the layer, right click and duplicate it, or select it and hit Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V, deactivate the original layer, and then go to the second gradient map that was created from the copy-paste procedure that I just did a few minutes ago, and you can actually change the colors and create another recipe. So if you do something like this, for example, okay, you can always deactivate this adjustment layer and activate the previous one, so you can compare what you like. Or you can combine, as you can see here, two different gradient maps and get even more awesome results. Okay, actually this looks quite nice, so I'm just gonna leave it there. Okay, that was it for today, so thank you very much for your time. If you want to find out more about us, you can go at illumius.com, okay, and we have a full-blown free course for you that you can follow. Just go at illumius.com with the secret link you will find down below, and you can select this amazing course and watch it for free. That will teach you how to create cinematic black and white portraits, okay? So, what course I'm talking about? I'm talking about this course. As you can see here, it's a full-blown course that will help you create amazing results like this. It's totally free, and it is a full-blown course. No bullshit, it is the full content for free. Why we're doing this? Because we're awesome, number one, and because we're going to actually create a lot more courses for Affinity Photo at illumis.com this year, and we want you to have a taste of how it is to learn by myself with my funny Greek accent, and also how the experience on our platform is. So hit the link down below, go grab the course for free. It's completely free forever, so you can watch it as many times as you want, and you will learn how to create amazing black and white cinematic portraits. Again, if you like this tutorial, a like helps us a lot. Please give us a like because it will help the YouTube gods of the algorithm to favor us and show this video to a lot more people. And also consider subscribing because we will publish free tutorials like this one each and every week that will help you upgrade your photography game. And we're also going to start doing photography tutorials as well. So not just Affinity Photo, photography tutorials are coming and are going to be hopefully awesome and useful to you. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you very much. Ciao from the sunny part of the planet, Greece, and until next time, take care, happy editing, and stay safe. Ciao.